Welcome to Addspower. Today you join me as we review my 1997 Mini Cooper. Woohoo! So here's my Mini Cooper. So what is this? This is a 1997. It's an MPI, so that's multi-point fuel injection. So you've got no carburetors on this thing. It's a late Mini. These were built from 1996 to 2000. So sometimes you hear people call these a Mark 7. So it's the 7th iteration of the classic Mini, the very last one. They were built in Longbridge in Birmingham in the UK. And really it's fundamentally similar to all the iterations of Mini which went before it. You're still dealing with an A-series engine up front, 2 subframes, you've got rubber suspension, rubber cone springs on it. It's to all intents and purposes a proper classic Mini. Now the colour on this one is Tahiti blue, and you saw this in period on different Rovers, but I just had to have a Mini in this colour. I love the kind of deep blue sort of lustre it's got to it. So this is the Cooper. So Cooper at this point was just a trim. The engines were the same across all the different variants. You used to have pinstripes, but I've taken those off, and then 2 bonnet stripes. Well, I prefer this kind of cleaner look. I think it just looks kind of cafe racer-ish. 2 front fogs, which look ace. I've put Revolution wheels on it, so these are proper Revolutions. Chrome rims just look awesome. I think these really kind of add a retro look to it. You've got spray painted the arches, Halford's rattle cam. A bit, they're not quite how I'd like them to come out, but for a first go, they're okay. This thing's had all sorts of work done to it. It's had a respray at some point in its life before I owned it, but I've just had a new subframe. I've fitted that. Look at that jewellery there, bit of polybush there, tighten up the handling. I've just rebuilt all the braking system basically. It's had new calipers, new slaves, it's had a new rebuilt master cylinder. It's had all sorts of work done to it. Underneath you got strengthened tie bars, so I've put those in just to try and tighten it up, and they just look cool. I've got Yokohama. These are the kind of sportiest tyres you can get for a standard classic Mini. These are 12-inch wheels, A539s. But just look at that cool tread pattern. I just love that. But really cool. I mean, this thing just absolutely rips along. Real good fun. You can see here, it's still got a side fuel tank on the side, and the fuel tank sort of sits here. This is a little homage to Hesketh Racing and James Hunt. I just think that little bear with the Union Jack's really cool. Little sports back box, makes a lot of noise, doesn't add to any performance, but you know, this isn't a fast car, it's never going to be. But just ace. I just love the way this thing sits. Just looks so cool. So on the inside, pure luxury. Absolute luxury. Look at this walnut dash. I mean, you could be in a Rolls Royce. Could be a Rolls. Seats are super squishy and comfy. Absolutely love them. No bolstering at all. But you kind of sink in so much that, you know, you might as well be in a bucket seat. I'm not sure that's totally factory, but they've worn, you know, real nice. Airbag steering wheel. Now, I wouldn't really want that to go off in my face. I mean, that's just not ideal the way that's angled, but that's one of the main changes for these MPIs. Airbag wheel, you've got side impact bars, so a lot more kind of safety improvements. You've got more sound deadening in this thing, and a longer final drive on the gearbox, so the thing isn't revving itself to pieces on the motorway, which is great. It's part of the reason I bought the car. 3 clocks, speedo, you've got temperature, fuel and tack. You've got a little clock in the middle, look at that, and these all light up a real nice kind of creamy yellowy colour at night, which looks really cool. Less said about the back, the better. There is no room. Under the bonnet, we have, if I can open this thing. Oh, that's horrible, I need to fix that. We've got an A-series engine. So these differ from the earlier Minis. You've got the radiator, just see here, prop it up with my arm. Radiator at the front. It would have been here on the older Minis, and I've taken the liberty of fitting twin air horns, because you just need a Ferrari horn in your classic Mini. It's just, you know, just what you do. Rebuilt master cylinder on the brakes. I've just redone the servo. K&N air filter. I mean, this is just, I mean, you just haven't got a Mini if you haven't got one of these fitted. You just need, that adds 20 horsepower alone. Real kind of just good condition. I don't kind of overly restore these cars. I just like to use them and enjoy them. So a real nice driving engine. You see the engine ECU there. So electronic ignition on these starts every time, no problem at all. You've got the 2 injectors here, fuel injectors. So I think it's time for a drive. Okay guys, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? So what is it like to drive a Rover Mini? Well, first of all, listen to that. So that's a K&N air filter. Listen to how raughty that sounds. Don't you just love it? There we go, we're all right. Just close the window a bit so you can hear what I'm saying. So, around town, this thing's really quite torquey. You'd think a little 1275cc engine, it'd have no torque, but no, it pulls really well. And listen to that. So that's your A-series Mini gear wind. So the transmission on this thing is underneath the engine. Really small gears. It's a packaging, well, masterpiece, quite frankly. Revolutionary for the 50s, but makes this lovely gear whine, and the transmission really dominates. You can really hear this thing. But look, I mean, this is second gear. We're at 20 miles an hour, and it just pulls. You know, there's plenty of torque. It's not a rever. This engine revs to about, well, the red line's at 6, but I've never got anywhere near it. Probably about 5 is where it's happy. But most of the power's between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM. But oh, just begs you to thrash it. I just love this thing. I mean, it's not fast, and you've not got a lot of power, but it feels quick, and it sounds quick. So there again, you see 20 mile an hour. That was just under 2,000 RPM. It just pulls. Hear the gearbox whining away. There's a lot of induction raw now. I mean, the exhaust, the back box, the induction, that's your predominant noise in this thing. But it's a nice noise. It's tuneful. But oh, it's just, the ride's quite bouncy, as you can probably see, but it's not uncomfortable. It's well damped. I mean, this one's had new cones, it's had new shocks over the years, obviously the poly bushes. So it's controlled, but you're not dealing with Rolls-Royce comfort here. You might have the dash, but not the comfort. But that's not what this thing's about. It's about having a laugh, having some fun. And the cornering is just out of this world. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun down here, because you just would, wouldn't you? There we go, let's do a bit of 0 to 50. Oh, listen to that. There's 50. So it's quite quick. I think book is about 12 seconds to 60 on this thing. But it feels quick. Bit downhill, admittedly, but yeah, I mean, it's not, it's better than you think. But oh, it's just the cornering. I mean, you just barely have to put any steering input at all in. This thing just absolutely scoots. And it's bouncy, it's just, I just love this thing. And you've got the air horns. I mean, it's just ace. People just love that. When you drive past them, and you know, a lot of people wave, and when you toot that, it just really lights up people's faces. It's just hilarious. Halford's kit, actually. If you ever want to fit one, Halford's kit. I think it's a Ring brand. Very easy to install and absolutely hilarious. So you can see here on the open road, it's not bad. It's okay. It's quiet. Bit of boom from the back box, but you're going to get that with these sports systems. It's not a good back box, to be honest, but it came with the car, and hey ho, I've got enough money going into this car as it is to be replacing parts like that. One thing you do notice with these is heat soak. You get a lot of it. Comes through the bulkhead. I'm just going to turn around so we can go back and have a... Oh, actually, let's try this road, shall we? Let's have a bit of a randomise. Oh, this is good. Plenty of torque pulling us along, but these are the roads this car was made for. Obviously, it's tiny by modern standards, but it just means you can thread it along. We're in a 30, unfortunately, so we'll slow down. But this thing just absolutely darts along. I mean, I'm tooting along at 30, and it just feels like you're on a racetrack. And you just don't get that in... I've driven sports cars, hot hatches, and they're fun, but they just don't... Most driving in the UK is like this type of thing. You're pootling along little country roads, small roads, A roads, and you just can't test a modern car to its potential. And this thing you can. I mean, you can drive 100% all the time. Nice few corners coming up here. Totally randomising on this drive, but hey ho, that's Addspower. That's what it's about. You've just got to go out, have some fun, and have an adventure. And look at this little road we've found. Beautiful. Lovely little gearbox. Got to get the hang of it. As you can see, I'm not a short chap. I'm 6'3", and I'm sort of folded in, so quite a long throw. And you do kind of have a bit of leg touching if you're bringing someone along with you, so you know, make sure you're comfortable with that. But it's fine. You can hurry it through the gears, and you know, so far it's been totally reliable. I've had no problems at all. Not quite there yet. Let's have another go, shall we? Listen to that K&N. Oh, we go. Oh, here we go. We're back to an A road. Let's give it some beans, shall we? Oh yeah. There's 4.5, so it's really loud by the time you get to 5,000. There we go. They're at 50 now. So. Oh, it's just hilarious. But you see, we're singing along 50, it's fine. It loves it. So braking system, as I said, I've got green stuff pads, EBC, really good. Plenty of braking power, discs on the front, drums on the back. I've got some Mintex shoes on the rear drums. Really stops well. Go. So we're 4th gear now. So 4th gear is quite long in these MPIs, so sometimes you do have to change down to 3rd, but that's no hardship. But you can see here, it's just so much communication. The steering's just, it's alive, it's just jiggling ever so slightly. It's not going like this, but there's just a lovely kind of layer of information coming through. Just debating what road to go up, not that one. Lovely responsive engine, it loves to be blipped. You can see around here, it just holds the road so well. Not a lot of body roll, plenty of grip, understeers barely, there is none. It just loves it, and you can thread it. It's the right size. And it's just so natural. I mean, this is a city car, and it just loves these roads. Loves them. Okay guys, so bit of straight roads. Let's do a little bit of a 0 to 60, shall we? So 3, 2, 1. There's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and there's 60. So I mean, admittedly that was downhill, but she's all right. She goes well. She goes very well. Well, how do you sum this thing up then? I mean, I love this thing, I'm biased. But great fun. Lovely little car for English country lanes. It's not been expensive to run, there's plenty of parts. It's quite easy to work on. Space is tight. You do find you need kind of spider fingers with the strength of the Incredible Hulk sometimes, but it's okay. It's a great first kind of starter classic, and I really can't recommend these enough. These are they're great little cars. There's plenty about. And the sky's the limit, really. You can have super valuable ones, the original Coopers, or you can just have kind of basic sort of Mayfairs or whatever, and you'll be getting a lot of fun whatever you get. So until next time, that's Addspower signing out.